Hello and welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how I install the doors, a couple of cabinets. I'm going to show you also at the end of the episode how it all came together and what is also next on the agenda here. But for this little cabin, as you can see, it's all coming together, and this is the trim that I have in mind, as you probably noticed from the previous couple of episodes. So this is a pine door. I'm going to stain it here in a second, so you'll see me doing that. And those are shims. That's what I'm gonna be playing with here in a second. That wall is a little bit out, so it was messing with me when I had to do the trim, and you'll see me do that in a second as well. But what I'm doing here is just mounting the door so it doesn't get away from me, and then I kind of work backwards and I put the shims in and make sure that the door opens right, and it also that it does not float. So what I mean by that is if the door moves on its own, that means it's floating, so it shouldn't do that. So I try to mount my doors in a way where they do not float, they don't move. And that's the way it's done right. So that's just those two pieces that you see. It just helps me keep things in mind and in place, so I can make sure everything is nice and even and level. Here's the plastic coming off because I'll be staining here in a second. And see, that's the wall that's out a little bit, so that messes with the whole trim. So you gotta kind of divide the difference between all the trim pieces on both sides and try to make it look good. So here's some cardboard. That's gonna be so I don't get stain all over my floor, even though I try to be nice and neat and careful, but you know, you still can get some on the floor, so that just protects it. And I don't know if you're noticing the hinges on those doors. Those are gonna be replaced, and I'll show you that in a second as well. See, this is what I'm talking about. That's the closet. You see how the drywall sticks away from the 2x4? And then when it gets to the top, it's nice and tight. That's the way it should be. And here, they just didn't screw it in right, and I just didn't catch it in time. So that's my fault. I should have caught it. So that's what messes with your trim. And that was in the closet door, and you got a little bit of that going on here. So you gotta find a way to remedy that situation. So a good trim person can hide a lot of the imperfections from the previous trades that are involved in a construction job. So just keep that in mind. If you talk to anybody that does trim work for a living in construction, they can tell you some crazy stories what they covered up. And see, this is one of the things that I have to basically fix and try to make it look good. Thank goodness it's in the closet. It's the worst, so I can remedy that, and in the closet it's not going to be that big of a deal. But see, that's the stain coming together. It's the same exact color as the rest of the house. So that's a pine door, and you're going to see me, the light switch covers, you're going to see me replace that as well in a second. And those are made from oak. Here is the trim drying out. I stained it, and now it's just drying out. And see, the light covers, switch covers are gonna get replaced. Who needs those things anyway? So I tossed them outside, and now I already had them stained and everything. I just gotta put them in 4 screws, and you're basically done. And I have to make sure my screws line up. It's just my OCD, so that was me measuring it. See, it's all coming together. I mean, for a little cabin, the touches I'm putting on it, I love the wood. So it's drywall mixed in with wood. I think it's coming out great. So I'm loving this. So I already pre-cut everything, and that's where it's gonna go. Those are 1x3s. You see me waving the pencil. That's how I space my trim. If you watch the window episode, you know exactly what I mean by that. And then you just basically nail that in. So any kind of ugliness with drywall, you kind of hide with the trim. And see, that board on top is a 1x4. So the sides are 1x3s and the top is 1x4. And I kind of eyeballed it on, it looks funny. But I eyeballed it so it hangs over on each side by about 1/2 inch. You can do 3/4 of an inch, whatever looks good to you. But this way, it's just just gives it a little bit more character. And see, here's the baseboard. That's a 1x4 as well. What you can't really see on the floor, I marked where my studs are so I can nail into the studs. You could barely see it from the painter's tape. That's how I marked it. So see, look at that. I think that turned out great. So it looks freaking awesome. So here's the bathroom door, same thing. I'll kind of speed this up here in a second. This door was bought from Home Depot. The other door I bought was bought from a surplus store. They just didn't have the left open one. So this one opens to the left, and the other one opens to the right. So I had to kind of get two different places, and these doors, they're very close, but they don't exactly match, but they are very, very close. That's just me drilling the holes for the pipes, the left here, and then the water lines are on the right, and then the drain is to the left there. You see that? So I'll show you here how I put that together. This is the little Mickey Mouse I made. I am such an idiot. But see how I have the board propping up the pipes? That's just so I can get the cabinet over into the holes there, and then I fish that board out of there. That's just, you know, what you gotta do when you work alone. You gotta get creative. So see, that board just falls down, then I fish it out later. But that just helps me get the pipes through the holes. You see that? So here you see me drilling and combining the cabinets together, because it's two different cabinets, to make sure everything lines up. So I pre-drill the holes, and then I put the screws in there. So I put 3 screws in there, and you see the clamps are holding everything together. So it's a nice finished complete look, and there's no gaps, so it just looks better that way. And if you're using the screws, just make sure you use screws that don't go through all the way to the other side. So measure that middle piece and see what it is, and use a screw that's not gonna go all the way through. Then you don't wanna drill into your drawer there, as you can see. So that's easy breezy. I mean, this is not rocket science. I still have to mount that cabinet to the wall. And you can see kind of how I mounted it together. I don't know, can you see the screw right there on the right side? So that's just so the cabinet doesn't wobble. So I put some shims in there, and I put a screw in. So you had 1 screw on top over there, and then you had the 3 screws to hold the cabinets together. That's putting the toe kick in. And that's also easy. You can glue that in, you can nail it in, however you want to do it. It really doesn't matter, as long as you do it and it looks good. So that's the toe kick. It's a piece of cake to install. Just cut it to size and just put it on there. There's nothing really to it. Very simple job. If you put some extra nails in there so it doesn't wobble or make noise when you hit it with your toes. And here you can see I stained the cabinet. I didn't show you that because I showed you that in the previous episode. You see me pretty much stain the whole kitchen. So that's just sliding the drawers in. It's getting late, by the way. I think it's like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I have to get some light going. See, look at that. Nice and pretty. And these are actually kitchen cabinets that I'm using in the bathroom. So they're a little bit bigger. So the depth of them is 24 inches instead of the bathroom ones, which are usually 17, 18 inches. So these are a little bit bigger. And see, you can tell by the top over there, the hole that you see, the rectangle, that there was a drawer there. And obviously I have to remove the drawer because the sink is going to go there. So the drawer would not work. And that's how you can tell it's a kitchen cabinet. But that just gives me a little bit more real estate. It just gives me a little bit more space in the bathroom cabinet. I like to do things like that, and I've done it plenty of times. The previous build I did the same thing. The bathroom, I used kitchen cabinets, so they're a little bit bigger. See? Piece of cake. So the drawer is on. I'll adjust it later. This is just to mount it. And that's how it looks. So the toilet's going to go to the right over there. You can see the hole. And see, this is what I was planning, what I was talking in the comment section. The exposed sides of those cabinets, instead of putting that boring board to the left of it, you see, on where it's exposed, I'm gonna put those little tiny tongue and groove pieces on the sides of those cabinets. So it's just gonna match the whole look of the house. And here is the appliances came in. so you can see. And then the cabinets, I put the little knobs on there, so everything has to match. The lights are on, so everything has that oil rub bronze look to it. And the face plates for the light switches are on. The fan is on over there. You see it, same thing, kind of a dark. I try to match everything. Even though I suck with colors, I still try to match and what I think looks good. And see, those are from Lowe's, and those are little tongue and groove pieces. I think they're like $20 a box, and that's gonna go on the sides of those cabinets. So see, the light switch covers are on, the trim is on around the doors and the windows. Can lights are on. That white can lights, it's okay, but I'm probably gonna start using something different. I just gotta find something that looks good, because the white just doesn't look right to me, but it is what it is. So see, wood trim everywhere. This is the hinges I was talking about. These are $3 each. So I replaced every single one of them. Here's the fan in this bedroom, well, the only bedroom. So I think it's came out great. I mean, for a little cabin, I keep saying that, I just love what I do, and I love how all this looks together. So here's the trim around that window, nice and simple. As you know how much I paid for it, it didn't cost a lot at all for all those boards to trim out the whole house. And see, this is the closet. That was the area that was messed up with that drywall that I showed you. Same thing, I actually put hinges on my closet door, so I do my closet doors a little bit different. So you can open it a little bit wider instead of the traditional way people do closet. I'm pointing, I still need door handles. And see, that's the closet, storage above the closet that I did, so I don't waste space. And see, that's the trim I trimmed out here. So simple, 1x3s on the sides and 1x4s on the top. And then the baseboard trim is 1x4s that you see to the left and right. You see that's mounted, what I was talking about. So I put the cover on that is glued and nailed together. Those are my pipes there. Everything looks good, fitment is good. Everything is mounted to the wall. This is obviously where the toilet goes, and you can see the water sticking out. So everything is trimmed out there as well, the bathtub. And here is the plumbers will be coming here in a couple of days and finishing everything. That's the trim for the bathroom window, which you saw. And the lights are on. So for a small cabin, this is 448 square feet. Everything is very livable. You see what's going on here? So everything is very, very livable, and it's a good size. That's the water heater to the right, and then the washer dryer is to the left. You can see all the connections, everything to it, and the exhaust. And see the hinges again, the black hinges to match. And I'm gonna get the door handles, will be the same exact thing. So that's that little cabin, 448 square feet. Got a couple of things from Home Depot, got a couple of things from Lowe's and some other places. And here's the whiteboard coming up. So the two doors that I got were 30-inch doors, and the closet door was also 30 inches wide. The Home Depot has the doors for $200. I bought them for $135 from the surplus store. The closet door was, I think, $70 if I'm not mistaken. So the hinges, as I said, were $3 each. The drawer knobs were about $2.50, and the stain was $10 a quart, and that pretty much did all those cabinets. The stain does not take much at all. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.